Your presence has been detected and recorded. Thank you.
Didn't do anything.
So no luck.
I figured.
But if you want to walk over there so we can talk, and I have a hearing aid, so the noise and
Oh yeah, I get
the traffic makes it harder to hear.
Sure.
If y'all want to join me. So I was, yeah, so I feel a little awkward with all the cameras, but that's what you got to do. So, yeah, so I was saying that I taught social studies for 30 years and used to have my students select the most controversial issue they could come up with, and then we would discuss it and try to find common ground on it. So, abortion was commonly one of those topics. And we would agree in advance that we would not try to change each other's mind, because a lot of my students didn't want to come to class if they felt like they were being coerced to try to change their mind. So we would adopt that as a ground rule. And instead, what we would try to do is to seek to understand each other's view on the issue well enough that we could find something we might agree on. And that we often reach that by posing difficult questions. And I would have students try to come up with the most difficult questions for themselves. They say, why should I come up with a question for myself? I know what I believe. I don't need to question my beliefs. And said, but see, that's part of what we're trying to do here. We want you to ask hard questions of people on the other side, but we want to start by having you ask hard questions of yourself, because that shows that you're able to get into the process of, so I could give you an example if you wanted, or we could, wish I brought a better raincoat, or we could launch right into it.
Go, let's launch
like
right
an
into
example or something? Or?
Let's go ahead.
So like, what is the issue? Because you're aware that Planned Parenthood has a whole range of services.
Absolutely.
And you know what a lot of those services are?
Yep.
Okay. And so, is your issue, I'm trying to figure out where we should focus our conversation. So, is it primarily abortion services that is bringing you down here, or is it the free speech issue, or is it STD testing, contraception, free contraceptives, you know, what?
The free speech issue is the main reason.
You want to go stand under the alcove, under the roof over
we
there?
can do that, yeah. You're not.
So anyway, and you can feel free to speak up too. We're going to try to have a little conversation here if you all want to join us.
Yeah, turn that crap off.
That fucker keeps fucking following her. He's pissing me off.
Hey, so here's a little, may I offer an observation? Through my toilet paper roll, which represents the filters through which we all see the world. Assumptions, beliefs, values, experiences, upbringing, race, cultural heritage, identity, faith, etc., etc. And our filters tend to let in information that reinforces what we already believe, tends to shut out the stuff that confronts us, you know. And most people sail through life not even aware they have filters. They just think that the way they see the world is the way the world must be, which makes it harder for them to talk with people who disagree with them without having their buttons pushed. And what I see is that people down here on both sides of the street are experts at pushing each other's buttons. And part of what I'm about, having taught high school social studies for 30 years, is how do we not let other people pull our strings, push our buttons, and in fact have a respectful conversation with people with whom we disagree. So anyway, that's kind of my shtick.
Well, that's kind of how we started, but
yeah. Well, anyway, so I came in here, and we were thinking about, it appears that the primary service of Planned Parenthood that has you most worked up is abortion services. I mean, it might be other things too.
We're not here to protest Planned Parenthood so much as just to harass them for harassing the people that are here.
Like they're doing right now. Wow.
Yeah. Where are they? So tell me, where's the harassing happening?
Right here at the black sign, and they're fucking harassing whoever's holding that sign. They're just sitting here quietly.
Well, are they? They do appear to be trying to block their visibility. That's the whole.
You see the body language when they're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, and believe me, I've been talking with them over there about that. You know, for example, one of the things I asked them is whether or not Planned Parenthood thinks that this is going to be experienced by patients of theirs as friendly, supportive, welcoming place, or is it like the scene of pretty intense trauma-inducing conflict? And so those are the kinds of conversations that I try to have on both sides of the street, because I often find, as you know, we tend to get caught up in our own worldview. We tend to act accordingly.
These guys here and that guy over there, they're just perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Leave government out of it. So that sign makes sense. These people over here saying defund, why should the government be paying for abortions? Then they're always talking about
actually, the government doesn't pay for abortions, but that's a part of the conversation.
Well,
right.
Government funds Planned Parenthood, therefore it allows Planned Parenthood to be able to use their funds to help.
Well, Planned Parenthood's funds are not fungible. You know what I mean by that? In other words, they don't cross over.
that's pretty much, if I get a welfare check and spend it all on whiskey, it's like saying the government doesn't pay for me to drink.
But then you had other people that were talking about the morality of it, which is fine. You know, they're worried, saying that they're shaming the ladies that come in here. Well, you know,
that might be part of what happens. Whether that's their intention or not, I don't know. It's hard to measure someone else's intent. Sometimes it's hard to measure even.
But at the same time, they run around calling everybody Nazis in town. So what are they doing? It's hypocritical.
Oh, I'm not defending them and their actions at all.
Trying to be the last ditch voice of reason or conscience, because it's once she makes a decision, it's a lifelong decision. She may regret, may not regret.
So let me ask you all a question then. So if you're here to like support these folks, how best do you do that? And have you had conversations with any of them about how they would like to be supported?
It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It takes time.
So, but have you engaged any of the folks that you're supposed to be here to support in a conversation?
The question is, how can you talk to somebody that doesn't want to talk, but all they want is violence?
No. I'm talking about the people with the anti-abortion signs that you're here to support. Have you talked with them to ask them, how can we support you? In other words, do they favor this kind of ramped up attention, which also brings more hostility toward them, probably?
You're getting it anyways.
Whether it's an unintended consequence of your action.
Well, the thing is, we didn't just come
our
here
actions are a result.
We came here because we were invited.
You've got your timeline mixed up. Our actions are a result of their harassment, not the other way
Who
around.
invited you? The people that are sitting over there in the chairs? They did. Okay. So,
we wouldn't drive 100 miles away from home just to play at Planned Parenthood. We can do it across the river in Portland.
wait, what?
We wouldn't have drove 100 miles to come to this Planned Parenthood when we could just do the same thing out front of the one in Portland.
Yeah.
Which is real close to home.
So, what is your thinking about how best to?
Same thing we've done for the rest of the West Coast. We've shut Antifa down in Berkeley, California, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and Olympia are the only place where Antifa still has a presence. And what we have done is we have been able to sit here and show the world, show the city, show the state what they are, what they did. We actually were able to make Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters backtrack completely and condemn Antifa and Feinstein. We had them, they called all of us white nationalists, and yet the national news sat there and said, look at them, they have way more diversity on their side than Antifa could ever dream of. They have one brown guy over there. We've got a Samoan, a Jew, I'm mostly native, he's partially native, all white but one, but they want to call us racist, they want to call us Nazis, and that's the narrative, because we have national media, CNN, Sky News out of Britain, coming down and glorifying these domestic terrorists, these people who assault people, put people in the hospital just because they don't agree with their speech.
It sounds like you're lecturing to the media or something or other.
No, it's a question. It's a question we get all the time. It is a question that we constantly get, and it's
these people were getting harassed long before Patriot Prayer showed
absolutely.
up.
These people have been doing this forever.
I've been here my whole life, and I've seen people protesting the protesters since I was a kid. Out here with the exact same signs. These signs aren't new, and the protesters aren't new.
We're done putting up with all this bullshit. We're done coming with people walking on the street, breaking people's property.
It's the person that's got to sit in front.
We have to let them know that their violent, speech-suppressing tactics will not go unchecked.
I've had my tires slashed on 2 separate occasions. I've had a total of seven tires slashed on my vehicle. I've had my family has been threatened. My life has been threatened. I've been put on a hit list just because I own a media company that comes out and exposes these people. And that's it. I own a news media company. I have millions of followers. Millions of people across this country and around the world follow my stuff. It wasn't until I started and other people like me started coming out and exposing these people that anybody knew anything was happening.
So,
if we were truly fascists, they wouldn't be standing there. If our government was a truly fascist government, they wouldn't be allowed to cover their face or stay there. They'd be getting curved, stopped. They'd be done, killed, murdered, just like all the true fascist governments did to their people that tried to hold signs up and speak out against them. Remember?
So how much mace have you swallowed over the last few years?
Man, I've been maced a lot. I've been maced many times.
Me, I keep counting.
I don't even remember.
I got 6 bear spray, and
so is that kind of like a badge of honor that you're wearing or something? I don't know. It sounds like it's almost kind of like...
But it's assault. It's literally...
Count the times that these fascists have tried to shut down their free speech with violence and assault.